work this week. Who knows? Hi, hello, welcome back to this mess. Look, I'm sorry about last week. I am having issues over here. I'm trying to kind of not exactly upgrade the channel, but just make it look like I put a little more time into this than I do, because it's not a whole lot. And I'm not terribly interested in learning how to do like deep editing or making these videos super visually captivating. I should be captivating enough. I swear I'm kidding. But I'm trying to add a little bit of oomph so we get a little more viewership, trying to add to our fandom of the horror community. That's what I'm trying to do. So if the frickin' opener worked this time, yay! I don't know. The hubris got the best of me last week. If it didn't, we'll try again next week. So that's what's going on here. How are things with you? Are you doing okay? Is the world treating you kindly? If it isn't, how are you handling it? So this week, I will talk a little bit about movies. I'm going to be vague because, you know, but I do want to talk about a book. We're still on werewolves, and the book that I want to talk about today is Howl by Renee Miller. And, I mean, book, this thing's a little itty bitty. It's almost like a novelette, not quite a novella. It's almost a pamphlet, this thing. But this book, it's filthy, it's vicious, it's graphic, and it's wonderful. Couldn't recommend it more. When we're talking about like werewolf, so okay, this book does get a little, like it's a little, is it a werewolf or could it be some other kind of monster? Because it doesn't necessarily name it. And I guess if you do some mental gymnastics, you could convince yourself it's some other kind of monster out there. But for me, the clues are there. Enough is said that you can come to the conclusion that it is a werewolf. We are talking about werewolves in this book. So what this book does right is it sets a tone. For as short as it is, you become invested in the characters. Fantastic writing. If you can do that, you're a good writer. What we get is, we get the story of a slow, painful transformation, which I love. We also get isolation. We also get loss of control, which is a really big theme that runs through werewolf movies anyway. As you're turning, as you're losing yourself, you're losing control, you're giving in to the animal. And we also get loss of trust. And it's a great tension builder in this, because this is once you're about 3/4 of the way through and you're kind of hip to what's going on, you don't know how it's going to end, because it could end one of maybe 2 or 3 ways, and you don't know which way it goes. And I love that, because not only is there tension for the characters, there's tension for the reader. And this is a great book. It's got a great monster. It's got, again, this isn't, if you're looking for like high literature or anything, this is a pulpy book. But I don't say that to put it down in any way. I love pulp. I think pulp absolutely has an important place in literature. So when I say it's pulp, I'm just telling you what flavor it is. I'm not putting it down. I'm not telling you it's any sort of low brow. That's not what I mean. But you're going to be getting pulp. So I was talking to a friend about this book, and the friend asked, you know, does it have sex? And I said, actually, yes, it does. Sex is very prevalent in werewolf movies and books, because as you are losing your humanity and giving into the animal, you tend to get, horniness tends to come in, and you get horny werewolves in a lot of this stuff. I'm totally fine with it. I love it, actually. So my friend was like, ooh, it gets sexy. Sex scene and sex-y. The sex scene is not sex-y. It is icky. So just be warned about that. It's icky. And I'm laughing because I have the sense of humor of a 14-year-old. if you too have an immature sense of humor, you will laugh because, ooh, it gets bad. But I love this book. Absolutely recommend it. Unnerving Press put it out. Unnerving Press is a press that I've worked with a few times in the past, and I really like working with them. I think I actually blurbed an earlier work by Renee for them, but I really like this book. I had it read in an afternoon. I enjoyed every second of it, and I'm sitting here with the book in my hand going, oh, during the sex scene. So if that's your thing, if you like the kind of fun, splattery kind of horror, this is 100% the book for you. This information will be down in the description. Please read it. And if you enjoy it, please reach out to Renee and let her know. Get on social media and shout it out. We got another small press author that could use the boost. You know the drill. So, with that out of the way, I do want to kind of rehash the weekly Tubi spiral, as I'm calling it, because it is all downward. I watched 2 werewolf movies this week. Well, I definitely watched 1 werewolf movie. And that one, I don't really want to talk about. I'm not going to name it because I did not like it. There wasn't much about it that I feel redeems it at all. I do want to say one thing, though. While not naming this movie and not calling anybody out because I don't want to publicly embarrass anybody, I do want to say, if you're the funniest member of your friend group, if you in real life are considered a funny person, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be good at writing any sort of comedy content. Okay? Being the funny friend does not mean you will be a funny creator. It might, but there are certain technical things you have to learn about writing comedy that aren't always present. Like, you can be the funny friend in your group of friends by being especially skilled at making fart sounds with your mouth. I mean, or being good at making fun of your other friends. It doesn't take much to be funny to people who know you, as opposed to writing something, a book, a skit, a movie that are funny. Because if you're going to do it in the same way that you make your friends laugh, it's going to come off as stupid. That's what I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. Comedy is harder than horror. Comedy is very hard. Respect it, okay? I'm not mad at the movie. I'm not mad. I'm just disappointed. So the movie that I do want to talk about is Mom, 1991 movie. The reason why I'm talking about it, now, see me, I would not call this a werewolf movie. It's kind of an ambiguous monster that they say it is a flesh eater. And a lot of the reviews on IMDb kind of categorize this as a werewolf movie, which isn't unfair. I can see where they're going, but for my money, this is not a werewolf movie. It's a monster movie. It's good until it isn't. It kind of falls flat at the end. The end kind of, you know, you got a good pace going and then it just kind of, and it's not good anymore. But I did enjoy the majority of it because it's a funny premise. It does get a little silly. The ending just didn't work for me. They kind of whiffed the ending. But I wouldn't say it's a werewolf movie. And I'm curious how other people would feel about it because maybe you see werewolf. Now, there's minor transformations that happen. And what these people turn into in their monster form. Did you ever see the early movie version of Rawhead Rex? They turn into Rawhead Rex. Yeah, it's very rubber-faced, very weird, but fun. I love this kind of stuff, obviously. I've devoted large swaths of my life to bad movies. But the problem being, all these reviewers who say it's a werewolf movie, it isn't, though. It's a monster movie. It is one reviewer called it a zombie movie, which it really isn't. Like, no sir. No, not a zombie movie. But also, not a werewolf movie. It is on Tubi, free to watch. It is fun. It's a fun movie until the end. Like, the last half hour of this movie really went downhill because it starts off great. It's got a nice steep incline to it, building up to something great, and that's what happens at the end. So, if you have the time, watch it. I put up the, hopefully I put up the thumbnail for the movie so you know which one to find, because IMDb does not list this up near the top. And if you watch it, let me know what you think. Do you see werewolf in this? Because I just kind of see hungry monster. That's kind of what plays. And the search continues. Next week, we will try for another movie. Right now, I am reading Shapeshifter by J.F. Gonzalez. This is not my first J.F. Gonzalez book. I have nothing but high hopes for it. Confidence. Not even high hopes. I have confidence that I'll enjoy this book. And I just put in an Amazon order for a few more werewolf books. So, you know, we're on good ground here. As usual, if you have any recommendations for books or movies, let me know. Because I think I need help. I was so happy with last week finding Viking Wolf, a movie that I actually enjoyed. And this week, no, I'm desperately disappointed in one and kind of confused by the other. But we continue. We will prevail. I have not reached a point of giving up yet. And I don't think I will. I'm actually enjoying this. I laughed a lot at the first movie. Despite it being a comedy, I was laughing in parts they did not want me to laugh in, which is usually not a good sign. One of these days I'll find one that I can talk about. Well, I guess this week on the Ghostwriters podcast, we'll be talking about Bloods versus Wolves, which was one I did like. Did you watch it? What did you think of it? If you haven't, seriously, be prepared for super low budget and crazy camera work that tries to make up for the lack of choreography. But please watch it, because I think it's worth a watch. And there will be links below, useful links. Do you want to get to know me, read any of my writing? Links below. Link below for Howl by Renee Miller. Please read it. Please shout it out. Scream about it on social media, because not only are werewolf books kind of rare, werewolf books written by a woman are also rare. And last time we talked about Bishop by Candice Nola. Super happy to talk about it. And I'm worried that there won't be too many more female authors that I'm talking about this year while we talk about werewolves. And I don't want that. So if you have any in mind, let me know. I will jump on that. If any person who's in a marginalized group in the horror community, let me know. I want to read it. I want to watch it. I want to shout it out. So yeah, that'll be it for me today. We're just going to start cutting out my weekly battles with this damn remote because they continue. But yeah, you don't have to worry about seeing that anymore. And that'll be it. Check out the links below. Check out this book. And leave me recommendations. Talk to me if you've read or watched anything that I've talked about so far, because that's kind of what I'm trying to do here. This isn't all just about me being the supreme goddess of this is what you should do. Let's have a conversation. Okay? All right. See you next week. Bye.